What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Today I have a fantastic video because today we have my favorite skills from all the skills I've ever showed you so far. I've got my favorite ones. Now there's 8 of them that I've narrowed it down to. Whether this is because I like using them or looking at them or I think they run really smoothly, whatever it is, I've got my favorite 8. Now I'm going to use the explanations that I used in other videos so you get a bit more of a detailed description on the skill. So if you hear me say like the 4th skill even though it's like the 8th, then that's why. But yeah, either way, hope you guys enjoy this video. If you do, be sure to leave a like. I hope you just enjoy the video because it's got all my favorite stuff in there for you guys to see, including 2 tricks that I made up myself. So hopefully you guys enjoy it, and like I say, if you did, be sure to leave a like. So I'm not sure exactly what this skill is called. I believe it's called the Sonic Turn. I don't know, maybe you guys have different names. I always get tortured in the comments for putting random names and stuff that you guys don't agree with. But either way, I'm going to call it the Sonic Turn. It's such a beautiful one to look at. I think it's one of the harder ones of the 5 to do. So it's going to take a little bit of practice. What you want to do is the ball's coming in. You want to try and chop it, like chopped behind your legs, as you can see. And then you want to turn your body on a 180 to push the ball through the legs. Now it has to be quite quick because if you try to do that on a defender, they've got a lot of chance to just stick their foot in. So the distance, the timing, everything is so important. But if you constantly practice this trick, you can practice off a wall, which is something that I would do, kick the ball against the wall, practice it on nobody. But then if you've got a mate or you've got a defender in training or anything like that, then give it a go. I mean, training is where you want to try express yourself in skills and things. That's where I did. In match situations, you know, you kind of get the right time. You want to do it at the right time sometimes. But either way, like I say, I really like this one to look at, and I think it's really smooth. Give it a go. If you can't do it, keep practicing. Eventually you'll get it. Alright, let's move on. Alright, so moving on to the 4th one now. Again, the first part is kind of similar to the 3rd one, as you can see. It's quite sneaky, a little drag, step over. You can do this with both feet. I found it was kind of the same either way I went because you're still kind of using your both feet for either side of the skill. But either way, so when you're doing the drag at the first, again, quite sneaky, same foot. And then after that, you're going to cannon. The cannon's a skill I used in I think a recent video I did. It's quite a simple one, but it's really effective. And the quicker you can get this skill, the better it's going to fool your defender. I just found it looked so much better and it run much more smoothly when it was faster. I kind of did it slow and dragged it out a little bit to try and beat him, but it kind of just ran more smoothly when it went a bit faster. As well, what Brad said when I was attacking him with this skill, even though which direction he knew I was going, obviously he showed the demonstration, he even said himself, like, he couldn't work out which way I was actually going to go. I could have went anywhere with that. And that's kind of the best part about it. Like, you kind of fool them regardless of what direction they think you're going to go. They still might not be able to get the ball, which is fantastic. It's just what you want the skill to do. I didn't really explain how to do the cannon, but you can kind of go check that out in the other videos. There's much more explanation and goes into more detail, so go check that out. But yeah, that's the 4th one. Alright, so for the first one, it's probably one of the harder ones to do in the rain because of the movement itself, but it's quite a nice flowing trick. It's one that I've made up myself. It's probably been used before, but it's one that I've just kind of put 2 skills together myself when I was thinking the other day. I thought this would be a nice skill. So for the first part of it, what you're going to do is you're going to drag your foot forward and stop the ball. That's like kind of the first part of it. That's the trick on its own. So you try to fake the defender into thinking you're going to pass it and then you stop the ball. Now that's the first step of this. If you want to learn how to do this, just kind of practice pushing the ball slowly with your foot and then trapping it with the top of your foot. Hopefully the defender thinks you're going to pass it or move that way, and he goes, and that's when you pull out the Maradona, as I call it, but you guys call it the roulette, and then you go the other way around him. But now if you think about it, if he doesn't actually fall for the first trick, he's then going to dive in for the ball, and then you go around him. But if you think about it, if the defender does not fall for the first part, he's then going to dive in for the ball, which is then you pull out the roulette and go around him. That's kind of the whole skill. I'm not going to teach you how to do the roulette. If you want to go see that, you can probably see it in another video, another skills video that I've done. But yeah, that's how the combination skill works. The first part can be done on its own, the roulette can be done on its own. Put them together, and you've got a decent skill right there. Alright, so this is actually a trick I made up myself. Now, people might have done it, you might have seen people do it, but I wouldn't lie about this, I generally made this up myself when I was a kid in the garden. We had to invent a trick that we had to show and see what people thought of it in like a little skills academy thing I went to. And yeah, this was my trick. I don't know if I'd seen it somewhere and not realised and then just did it, or whether I'd literally just made it up on the spot. I feel like it's just got such a nice flow. Like, it looks like one movement. It looks like your foot doesn't leave the ball, in a sense. But yeah, it's just so nice. It's quite hard to pull off at fast running pace, so it's one of them at like a medium pace. I can do this trick at full pace, I just feel like it's much better at like a mediocre pace kind of thing. And the better you pull it off, the more technique you have with the skill, the easier it's going to be to beat your opponent. Alright, so moving on to the first skill. Again, I don't have a name for these. I don't like giving skills a name because you guys seem to always think that I get them wrong, which is probably right. I probably do get most of them wrong. But either way, this one's just going to be the roll behind. That's what I'm going to call it, because you roll the ball and then you put it behind you. Very creative, Mikey. Nice one. But either way, it's quite similar to the skill I did on the last video, but apart from this time, it's a whole different body movement and it's a whole different position of the defender. Now, if you notice on the last one, the guy came from the side and I kind of like caught him out my eye, but this one is quite blind. You don't actually see what the defender's doing, you just have to feel for him. Now, you'll know that Brad's right on my back and you'll see my hands quite close to him, so I know where he is. This allows me to get kind of a visual of what I feel like Brad's body's like, or the defenders on you's like, just because of the way he's positioned and stuff like that. So this is when you do perform the skill. Now, the first step of it's quite simple. You drag it across your body with your strong foot or the angled foot that you're sort of facing with, and you drag it across your body, and then you just drag it back. This is what differentiates the first skill to the second one, like this one. Because when you do that turn, the 180, you kind of push your body away from where the defender is, which gives you more of a leap on him, so you can take the ball further away and the defender has a lot more to do to catch you. Now, obviously this be effective because if you're trying to beat him, he's going to be a few more yards behind you. It gives you more time to think, to pass the ball, to have a shot, to do whatever. But I just want to make it clear that I wouldn't kind of use this in your own half. Try to use it in the opponent's half because it can be quite a blind trick. Like I say, you're not looking at exactly where his body's positioned. For all you know, his legs are really tight and closed, so yeah, it can be quite a hard one to pull off, but I mean, if you can do it, then perfect. It can look unbelievable, and it can kind of fool him quite well. It's kind of a skill that you use once a game, or you see it once every 2 games. It's not something that you see quite often, because it is quite a hard skill to pull off. Like I say, I'm not sure exactly what I call this skill, but I write them down, I kind of just give them like uncreative names. So if you guys got any better names and stuff, just leave them in the comment section, I'll have a read, and yeah. Alright, so moving on to the 4th skill. Now, this one's called the scoop turn. That's what I'm going to call it. You guys, again, might have different opinions. But yeah, the scoop turn. You can actually practice it by doing circles. You might get quite dizzy doing it, but do circles with the ball and trying to keep the ball as close as you can to the foot. So it's kind of one movement. So you can kind of get that smooth turn as you go. It's kind of like the first one in a sense. It's a blind trick. You don't exactly know where your opponent's going to be within the skill and stuff like that. But you kind of get a bit more of a vision for it when you're kind of turning. And if it's quite slow, the defender might realise and just stick a foot into it. That's why it's got to be quite quick and quite stretched. So the further you take the ball away from the defender and then scoop it back around, the more chance you've got of pulling it off. It's really cheeky. If you pulled this off in the game, I'm pretty sure the defender would want to just come in and tackle you as hard as he could. But at the same time, it just looks very smooth. It's very nice. Like I say, it's quite an easy trick to learn as long as you can just get that kind of the ball control as close as you can to the foot and just keep it like that. There's not much I can say apart from this. I think I've pretty much covered it all. It's quite a self-explanatory trick. Just go out and practice it. Like I say, I think I say practice too many times in these videos. But either way, yeah, just do that. Graft hard. You'll get it, boys. This one's actually really, really hard to pull off. Now, I think if you're in a game, normally the normal rainbow flick would work just as well. What I like about this is basically the 360 on it. So the way your body turns is just nice. It just looks fluent. It flows well. If you guys have noticed now, I like my skills when they flow well. That just looks better in my opinion. So how we actually do the trick. So with this one, what you want to do is if you're running with the ball, try trap your legs. And the timing on this is perfect. It has to be. So you've got to trap your legs together with the ball. So you've got full control over the ball as the defender is coming in. And then you want to swivel your body sort of a 90-degree angle to start with, and that's when you start to raise your legs around with a little hop, which can then flick the ball over the head in one movement, and you still carry your body around to a 180 and then into a 360. Hopefully the ball goes in the right direction. Sometimes it can go off to the right and left and you have to cover more ground, but if you can get it straight over the defender's head, then you've pulled it off. You've done well. Try get the timing perfect. Obviously it's going to take a few times. If you're comfortable just doing the rainbow flick, then fair play, but give this one a shot. It looks nicer, it's a bit more flared, and like I say, Neymar does it, so who doesn't want to do it, you know? So again, this is another skill that you might have seen on my channel before, but like I said, it was in that one video I didn't really like, so we're redoing it again, because I feel like it's a really effective trick, and you don't see it quite often. I don't think I've ever seen it in a game. That might be a good sign, or it could be a bad sign, but either way. So once you are running with the ball, and you turn on that 180-degree angle, you're going to start heading towards the defender. So when the ball is coming in that direction, you want to slowly give it a boost with your strong foot, as you can see. It boosts up your weak foot, because I like to use my weak foot as a standing leg. That's just my opinion. Might be different for you. But I use my strong foot to drag it up, my weak foot, and it lifts it up right in the air. It's good to have a nice angle on your weak foot as well, so the ball can roll quite fluently. And then you bring your strong foot back round as you are moving forward to give you that pounce so you can move on the ball, and then flick over the defender's head, because then you're eventually just moving in that direction anyways, so you can get away from him quicker. There's not much else I can say apart from just practice it and practice it. Slow my video down. I'm sure I'll put a few slow-mos in for you so you can slowly see what it is. Like you say, you might not get it first time, you might not get it second time, you might not even get it the 7th time or the 15th time, but just keep trying, keep practicing. I remember the first time I got showed by this, one of my mates showed me it, and I was like, oh, I want to learn this skill. So I just practiced it and practiced it like every training session I had or at home in the garden, and eventually I can do it. So that's just, it's all about practice, time, it's just put work in, put graft in, and you'll get there. If you're determined enough and you're willing to put in the work, then you'll get outcomes. Like, regardless of what your technique is right now, regardless of how good of a player you are right now, if you put in the graft, you will be a better player.